So welcome once again to class. My name is Dr Ifiok. I'll be taking on listening part A. One of the tutors at Excel OET Academy. Please, Iriola, I think your mic is on. You might need to turn it off to help others in the class. Thank you. So before I start, for some of us who are just joining the academy or probably just starting OET for the first time, so I might need to walk you through a little what it entails. OET is an professional English test, and then it has 4 subtests. That's the listening, the reading, the writing, and the speaking. So today we'll be looking at listening part A, and listening subtests divided into 3 parts. So we have listening part A, listening part B, and listening part C. However, in this class we're discussing only listening part A. All right. So walking us through this outline, what to expect, what you need to expect when you're going for a listening part A class, and then we'll also walk us through listening part A overview, the tips you need to answer your questions, okay, and then the pre-listening tips as well as pre-listening prediction, and then we'll have a short practice. So at this point, I need if you don't have a writing material, I like you to get a writing material and you get a biro or a pencil. So after after teaching for a while, we'll have a short practice, and then before we now go into the frequently asked questions. Okay, so what to expect? Listening subtest has takes approximately 45 minutes, okay? And then the entire listening subtest, that's part A, B, and C. It takes approximately 45 minutes and it contains 42 questions, right? Each correct answer is worth 1 point. That's for a total of 42 points. Then all you need as a health professional to pass your OET is just to score 30 over 42 correctly. And that will give you a B grade. Okay. Then another thing I would like to emphasize in this class is that it's very important for you to know that on your test day, you're going to listen to the audio once. So whatever you're going to do on that test day, to pay attention, it's for you to pay attention. Okay. You have to focus, pay attention, and then be determined to what? Listen to what everything and then answer your question, because you're going to listen to that once. Okay, audio won't be played twice on your test day for you, so you must be very, very careful. Okay, you must also be able to practice so that you can be ready for your test. Then for listening part A, to give you an overview, listening part A, you will hear 2 different extracts. On your test, the listening part A contains 2 different extracts, and these extracts are clinic consultations. Okay, each extract has 12 questions each. Does that make sense? So for each extract you're going to listen to, for each consultation, it has 12 questions. Now for the 2 extracts to do, and these consultations are different, okay? So for the 2 different clinic consultations you're going to listen to that day, you have to answer a total of 24 questions, okay? And each extract lasts 4 to 5 minutes. So out of the 45 minutes, okay, approximately 45 minutes that you have for listening part A, for listening subtest, sorry, listening part A has about 8 to 10 minutes, because you have 2 extracts in listening part A, and each extract lasts about 4 to 5 minutes. Now, I want to let you understand one thing, that your aim of listening is to listen to comprehend. Please, there is a difference between hearing and listening, okay? Hearing is passive, but listening is active. So you must actually pay attention. So you listen to comprehend, and you also know one thing, that you should have the ability to interpret and also paraphrase, and synonyms will be used. Okay, you must be able to interpret, paraphrase, and also use synonyms, because that's what you might see on your test day. Now, another thing is you have to accurately record detailed information, what you hear, okay, the exact way you heard it, on your what answer booklet, and then you'll be expected to complete the structured notes. Hello, I think someone's mic was on. You can turn it off for us. Thank you. So let me just fix that now. Okay, I think that's already sorted out. Well done. Okay, so for the tips, now, if you keep practicing, if this is your first time, you'll realize one thing that is one thing you're going to realize that it takes about 15 to 20 seconds for them to read the instructions, okay? But on your test day, what are you going to use this time for? Because I believe that when you practice and practice more, you should be familiar with the instructions. Okay, so then what do you do? Now, that 15 to 20 seconds that you hear, there's a speaking 15 to 20 seconds, okay, before the first question, okay, comes up. Okay, now what do you use this time to do? What you're going to use this time to do is to first give yourself a purpose of listening. Tell yourself on this test day, because first thing is that you must be confident of yourself. You're going to pass. Simply means confidence is improved over time when you keep practicing. I know that sometimes when you are starting, and some people, having tutored students over the past years, I realized that most times they tell apologies, please. I guess I was locked out by the network. So I will share my screen right away. So, so please, can someone confirm that they can hear me, please?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, thank you. So I think the network locked me out at some points, but I'm back. So I might just need to go back again and then expand further for those who just joined us. Okay, so I'm start recording right now. Oh, it's already recording. That's fine. Okay. So like I was saying, you'll be given 15 20 seconds while they'll be reading instructions. What do you use this time to do? Like I said, you use this time to give yourself purpose of listening, aim to understand entire consultation, and then use the bullets and heading to follow along. So on if you look at I'm going to show you in the next slide, um as we discuss in this class. So if you look at the question booklet, you realize that there are bullets and headings. Okay, now these bullets are just to guide you So at any point you miss, for example, you miss number 1 or you miss number 2, okay, I miss any question, don't just wait there and think of what to figure out what the answer could be. Please move to the next bullet point. It's very, very important for you to move to the next bullet point, okay, and continue from there. Right now, the next thing is this: answer will come from patients, but signals will come from the doctor. What we call signals or signposts will come from the doctor. So it's the doctor that probably asks the patient, for example, can you tell me what happened 2 months ago, or can you tell me how how it started, for example? Then that is like, okay, patient, doctor is asking the patient, for example, can you tell me about your symptoms? Okay, and the patient is talking about the pain. So you now realize, oh, patient is now talking about, oh, this is pain. The patient might go ahead and talk about, okay, 3 months ago, this occurred. So that's like a signal, okay? So the answers comes mostly from the patient, right? Then beware of paraphrasing, as audio may be different from the written notes. So example, you might hear something like, patient may say, I'm trying to cut down, okay? You might say, cut down my weight, okay? Then the answer or the question booklet might say, reduce weight. Does that make sense? Now, patient may use a word like I keep up at night, okay? But then the answer booklet or the question booklet says dash problem sleeping, okay? Problem sleeping. That's the same thing. Keeping up at night, okay, instead of problem sleeping. Might be saying a patient might be saying keeping up at night, but problem sleeping will be seen on your answer booklet. So you have the ability, you must develop the ability to paraphrase, okay, interpret these words and the use of synonyms, okay, to know that they mean the same thing while you're providing your answers. Then another thing is you have to look at the gap and predict what you are listening for. Right? So I'm going to show you in our next slide. Now, another thing is this: before you start, okay, they will be given 30 seconds, okay, to go through before each extract. We're given 30 seconds to go through, let's say, the entire 12 questions in the first consultation. So what you use this time to do is quickly read through the headings, right? Look at the bullet point, the signpost, read through the headings, and know what you'll be expected as an answer to provide. Just predict it, for example. Then think about the types of words that may fit. Think about spoken words or written words. Aim to recall all information, read and predict words, right? So this is how a typical listening question booklet looks like. All right. So you can realize, you can see here that we have look at the gaps and predict. Like I said, look at the gaps and predict what you are listening for. Now you hear instruction, for example, question 1 to 12. You hear the physiotherapist to a new patient called Ray Sands, right? For complete a note with a word or short phrase, you now have 30 seconds to look at the notes. Another thing is, whenever you hear the name Ray Sands, please just know, whenever you hear the patient's name, for example, okay, it might not be Ray Sands, but whenever you hear the patient's name, please know that the test has started. All right. The first thing that you hear when the test, okay, is about to start is the patient's name. It's very, very important, okay, for you to look at for wherever you're going to hear the patient's name, right? Now, for example, now these are what we call now, like I said, listen to the patient's name. I'm trying to activate I don't know why it's not working. It's fine. So what we have here on the screen, let me highlight it again. This is what we call the signals. So you hear something like patients. You now hear 18 months ago. Patient tells you that 18 months ago, what happened? Back injury, that he sustained back injury 18 months ago. And the patient kept talking and now said 1 year ago. You realize that 1 year ago, what happened? That sciatica developed, right? Patient kept talking to the point and now said 6 months ago that the symptoms were cleared up, okay? However, last month, okay, the symptoms would reoccur, okay? So when you have to follow up the signals very well to guide you on which question you are, right? Now let's talk about patient description of symptoms. Now, for example, number 2 now, we're having here on the screen, it's a pain located in, it's obviously should be a part of the body, right? You can't predict, should be a part of the body. Now, as I said, pain described as? How did the patient describe the pain? Okay, was it intense? Okay, was it severe? Just was it moderate? Whatever you can think of, just predict the words you're likely going to hear. Now here you can see loss of mobility. If you want to paraphrase, loss of mobility might be inability to walk, right? Now, problem sleeping, like I said, might be keeping up late at night. Then you look at, for example, mentions inability to what? Dash, okay? So keep looking at this. And then whenever you provide your answer, please make sure that if you read it all through when you're given the last, so at the end of the listening task, you're given 2 minutes, okay, to go through your work. So when you're going through your work, please, at any point that you miss it, keep moving. Please keep moving. It's very important. Just keep moving. Then by the time you come back in that 2 minutes to be given, that's when you can look through your answers very carefully and realize that they made sense, that they can complete the sentences, okay, the gaps very well, right? And make so much sense if you read the entire sentence all together. All right. So I don't know how many of us here have our pencils and pens. Like I said, these are synonyms we must look out for. So on this slide again, before we do a very short practice, while you get your writing material, your pen and pencil together, because we are going to do a very short test right now. All right. So like I said, you're given what 30 seconds, okay, to go through what 30 seconds. Give yourself a purpose, okay. You could go through 1 to 12, question 1 to 12, right? Then that 30 seconds, you need to give yourself a purpose of what you're going to listen for. And then one thing I'd like to let you know that please do not fret, do not be nervous, all right? Like I always tell my candidates on your test day, wear a very simple outfit, make yourself very free so that you don't get to be distracted. Then when you get there at any point, okay, because one thing, if you're nervous, okay, it means you're unable to focus, right? If you're nervous, it means you cannot pay attention because you won't be able to focus. If you're not able to focus, you won't be able to listen very well. Remember that this is not a hearing test, it's a listening test. So it's an active process and not a passive process. All right. So when you listen to patient's name, like I said, just whenever I hear the patient's name, that's when your test has started, right? And then these words that you're seeing here are your signals, right? To guide you on where the patient or the speaker is, right? And then you must also be able to use synonyms when you are practicing. Is that okay? So we are going to do a very short practice right now, and then you confirm whether you can hear, you can hear me clearly, or whether I should adjust my audio or not. So give me some seconds. So just number your book from 1 to 12. We're going to have a very short practice right now. And then after this, I would love to get feedback, your answers in the comments, in the chat box, okay? Or you all can just open your mic and provide your answers. I'll share the answers with you and then ask you all what your score is. Please confirm if you can hear this, please.
Hear an otolaryngologist talking to a patient named Terry Butler.
Oh, sorry, not that.
Lifestyle that might be contributing to the problem.
Well, occupational English test. Sample test 1.
Sorry, is it too loud? Please, can I get a feedback? Is it too loud?
It's fine.
Fine, that's fine. That's okay. So now I'm going to project the questions for us. I don't know. Are we ready? I guess we should be ready. So I'm going to project the question for us, and I'll give us some time to look at it very well before we start. So now, here is the question. Let's go through this and then take a look at these two. Okay, so we start, right?
Occupational English test. Sample test 1. Listening test. This test has 3 parts. In each part, you'll hear a number of different extracts. At the start of each extract, you'll hear this sound. Time to read the questions before you hear each extract, and you'll hear each extract once only. Complete your answers as you listen. At the end of the test, you'll have 2 minutes to check your answers. A. In this part of the test, you'll hear 2 different extracts. In each extract, a health professional is talking to a patient. For questions 1 to 24, complete the notes with information you hear. Now look at the notes for extract 1. Extract 1, questions 1 to 12. Hear a physiotherapist talking to a new patient called Ray Sands. For questions 1 to 12, complete the notes with a word or short phrase. You now have 30 seconds to look at the notes.
It's Mr. Sands, isn't it?
That's right, Ray Sands.
Now, I think you've been referred to me because you're suffering from sciatica.
That's right. Not for the first time, actually.
Okay, well, I've got some notes here, but perhaps you can tell me in your own words about any previous bouts of sciatica you've had, what treatment you had, what worked for you, anything else you can remember.
Righto. Well, it all started when I hurt my back, about 18 months ago now.
Okay.
I was giving somebody a hand with a heavy suitcase and I felt it go, woof, just like that.
Mm.
Anyway, I slowly got over that, despite occasional flare-ups. And then, out the blue, about a year ago, sciatica developed. And it was 6 months till that finally cleared up altogether. Now it's come back in the last month or so, I'd say.
I see. And your GP said it was sciatica?
Yeah, I had this pain all the way down my right leg, and she said the real problem was in my back because the sciatic nerve was getting trapped.
Right.
I mean, I'm telling you, this was no ordinary pain. It was really intense. I mean, to the extent that I couldn't stand for very long, couldn't walk hardly any distance, I couldn't sleep.
Oh.
I mean, the most frustrating bit for me was that I couldn't even turn over in bed. It just hurt so much. I just couldn't get comfortable. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'd have, a sort of tingling feeling in my calves as well.
Right.
But then at other times, my whole leg just felt a bit numb, really. It was weird. And of course, I couldn't go to work. I'm an events organizer, so I travel about a lot. I'm setting things up for conferences, lugging stuff around, And so there was no way I could manage any of that at the state I was in.
Okay. So how was this treated?
Well, in the first instance, I was given painkillers, obviously. Ibuprofen, as far as I can remember.
Right.
And I was told to put compression packs on the affected area. I mean, that did ease the pain a little, but I was still housebound, practically speaking.
Okay.
Then the GP sent me to see an osteopath, and I got some treatment there, but it didn't seem to make much difference.
Right.
So I was referred to a sports injury specialist of all things. And he did a number of things that did seem to ease things a little, like working on my spine and lower legs. Oh, and he gave me a set of exercises to do at home.
I see. Any other treatment?
Oh, yeah, I almost forgot. There was this course of injections, and I went for various other therapies like ultrasound and another one where they do, well, they use like electrical impulses. I can't remember exactly what it's called.
Okay.
At one point, I even considered acupuncture, but by then, the other things were beginning to take effect and the symptoms were subsiding, so I gave it a miss.
So, which of these various treatments do you feel was most effective? What made the difference?
Well, I couldn't say for certain because it all went on for 4 months without much improvement, really. Then it wasn't until suddenly in the 5th month things changed quite dramatically. So to be honest with you, I think it was the combination of treatments gradually taking effect and coming together rather than one single thing making the difference.
Okay. And did anyone ever talk to you about what might be causing the problem?
Well, I think everyone assumed that a slipped disc was behind it all, but it was never actually confirmed as that. I mean, I know there is this other condition where you get a lot of pain in the buttocks, but that wasn't experienced.
Okay. And did anyone talk to you about aspects of your lifestyle that might be contributing to the problem?
Well, I remember actually there was one.
Okay. It's going to be an interactive class. Can we just put on our microphones? Let me hear. Now, this is the answer to the question. So someone is trying to speak. I can hear you. Someone is trying to speak. We can't hear you. We can't hear you, please. I don't know. Okay, Iriola, your mic is open. Can we use the hand raising icon, please? So that, can we do it one after the other? Oh, please, can we use the chat box to provide our answers, please? Can I know your score?
To see the answers.
Oh, it's already on the screen. Yes, on the screen already, so you can now score yourself. Let me get the feedbacks on the chat box. Someone's already typing. Oh, Joy.
Scored 11.
Okay. Oh,
You're
well
not seeing
done.
the answers.
One.
You're not seeing the answers. Here, the answers on the screen if you check. Can you see? So well done, Joy. Joy had 12/12. Dr. Lero had 10/12. Well done. Babs had 12/12. Francisca 11/12. Sorry, Adelala, your mic is open. You might need to mute yourself for us, please.
Yeah, I was about to say something that I actually got now about 12 because I am using my phone internet to connect my laptop. So somebody called in and my internet was disturbed, so I missed some of the
question. Oh,
yeah.
sorry about that. Sorry about that.
But I got mine.
Well done.
I got the ones I was able to hear.
Well done. So well done, well done, well done. I'm seeing wonderful and beautiful scores here. 12/12 from Joy, 10/12 from Dr. Alero, 12 from Babs, 11 from Francisca. Z got 11 and Iriola got 10/12. Well done, Adelala. I know you missed some and then you got 9/12. These are beautiful scores. Tosin, I'm not hearing anything from you. I think we are more than 13 on this call. We're not hearing from the rest. I haven't heard from Nos Ifi. I haven't heard from Okure Victory, Tosin, Uchechi. I'm not heard from you, but I believe you all had beautiful scores, right? So that is how it works. It's very.
Sorry, I didn't follow. I didn't follow, but I was distracted, so I missed everything. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry about that. But I believe that you when you're off the call now, you can practice more and then you can perfect it. So like I always tell
Are
my
you going to send us the
candidates,
questions, sir?
yeah, I'm going to send this recording to everyone. I'll share this recording with everyone.
Are you going to send us this listening test to solve maybe after the lecture?
Yes, I'll do that.
Thank you.
Welcome. Okay, so well done everyone. I'm happy. So another thing is this in your listening. Okay, so let's go to frequently asked questions first. Okay, the first question is, do I lose marks for mistakes in the listening subtext? Now the answer is this: in listening subtext, you will not be penalized for misspelling. Please be very careful. You will not be penalized for misspelling, provided the meaning is clear to other healthcare professionals, right? Any reasonable attempt at spelling the correct answer has a good chance of being accepted. So if you have a reasonable attempt, okay, of spelling what you heard, even though the spelling is not correct, it's a mark for you. That's one thing that makes OET flexible and easy to pass. Okay, if you make an attempt to spell a word and then it sounds like what you heard, it's a mark correctly for you. Now, next question is, do I lose marks if I give incorrect or extra information in the listening subtest? This means that you are writing what you did not hear, okay? Then that simply means in part A, you must complete, please note, you must complete the notes using the same word or short phrase that you hear in the recording, right? You will lose marks if you repeat the words from the notes. Like I said, when you provide your answer, okay, in the gap, when you come back, look at it very well. Did I write, for example, let's say tingling sensation? You hear tingling sensation and you wrote tingling sensation when sensation was already provided in your question booklet. That would be tingling sensation, right? When it would have just been tingling. So you will lose a score if you write tingling sensation and you repeat yourself by writing tingling sensation. That's what we mean by repeating words, okay, from the notes. So add information, or you add information that is not in the recording. You also lose a score if you add any information that you not hear or that is not there in the recording. Or if you contradict yourself or make your meaning unclear, you also lose a score for that, okay? Then the next thing is, can I use abbreviation in OET listening subtext? Yes, you can use abbreviation. For example, if you had blood pressure, you can write BP. It's accepted, right? However, you should avoid abbreviations that are specific to a particular workplace or a specialism. What am I saying? For example, now, if you know that you're using abbreviation that is not common in medical practice, okay, if you're a doctor, you're a nurse, and then you are using an abbreviation that is not common in your profession, okay, you will lose a score for that. But if you want to use abbreviation, use an international globally accepted abbreviations. That will fly. Then the next question, do I need to write down exactly what I hear? Please, it's very important. You must complete the note using the same words you hear on the recording, right? You should not paraphrase information and you should not change the information, okay? And then what else? Where do I write my answers for listening subtext? Okay, so for part A, you must write your answers in the space provided in the question booklet. So your question booklet comes like what was projected earlier on here. So we just fill your answers in those spaces. But for part B and C, you must shade, okay, the lozenge next to the appropriate answer. Must shade the, for example, what do you call it? You must shade your A, B, or C, or D, provided in that it's your correct answer, so that when it will be marked, it will mark for you correctly. Then it is a good idea to use sample tests to familiarize yourself with the different task formats you will find in the test. So every day on the Telegram group, if you check and realize that that we drop daily listening tasks, I mean, you should practice daily. Like I always tell people, whenever you wake up in the morning, just make sure that you do at least one listening task before you step out of your house, okay? It has a way of fine-tuning your listening skills and then making you better. Then another thing is this: in this period that you are, please avoid to listen to I think what you should be watching more should be CNN, or if possible you can watch medical videos so that you get familiar with how they speak, okay? Because the tonations actually the accent differs too, okay? And tonation differs, okay? So you must also find a way and apply yourself, okay, in getting it right. Now, conclusion, you have to review the question before the audio begins. Remember what I said. It's very, very important, like you go through the questions before the audio begins, so that you just look at, okay, what do I expect? What am I expecting? Okay, this is what I'm expecting. The patient's name is Resan. If you're talking about XYZ, just get yourself familiar. Then practice before the test day with either headset or speakers. It's very important. Today we are practicing with speakers. I know some of us over the over your end might be using headphones or speakers. It's very important because I think before, like I keep telling people, before I wrote my OET test, there was a particular set that wrote, and when they got to the test venue, they didn't give them headsets. They were using speakers. So I mean, you can see how awkward that will be if you were using speakers to practice. So use speakers and use headphones to practice so that you can apply yourself very well and know how it works. So at this point in time, I'll open the floor for questionings. If you have questions, suggestions, or whatever you have probably needs clarification on, please go ahead. Okay. I'll be welcoming and I'll be here to provide the answers before we call it a day here. Okay.
Sorry, I couldn't start it. I was looking for it.
I have a question.
But the issue, I want to know if they are always fast, how they used to be in terms of the one we're using to practice. Because most of the ones I used to practice used to be very fast. I don't know if it's how it is in the exam.
Okay, so I mean, if you go outside there, I can hear you. So outside there, there are many materials that you see on the internet. But if you look at the Telegram group, you realize that you have you check the music part of the files. If you check the music part of the file, you see different recordings, okay? And if you are using JSHAN, I always tell people that you should use JSHAN to practice. You check the group, you see JSHAN material, listening materials, and if you check and if you also check, I don't know, if you also check the file parts in the group, the music part in the group, you realize that you see listening parts. For example, listening part 3A, okay, you see 3, listening 3, part A, 3, part B, 3, part C. That 3, part A starts with Jeshan's first listening task, please. That thing that you're seeing, that you're answering Resan, it starts with the Jeshan first part. So if you open Jeshan's material and you play that 3A, that's what you hear. Another thing is, I'll find way for some of us who are using Android devices. I will share an app in the group so they can download it. It's a listening app that you can use. I think it has so many listening subtext there, and these files on that app, they are all exam standard. I know that some people actually adjust the speed, okay, listening speed on different platforms, so that by the time you're listening to it gets you, it's a little bit fast. Most people design that so that by the time they do that, you realize that if you're practicing with that, I know it has its own advantage and disadvantage. Advantage is that if you familiarize yourself with that, getting to your test day and you find something slow, you go to adjust to it very well. Then another thing is that some people that use very slow audios, that by the time you get to your test hall, you realize that it's very fast, okay? But then I'll just urge you, I think we are trying to send something of that. Every day we post exam standard. I know sometimes it might be just the ones that are fast, okay? But I'll tell you that you should use Jeshan, okay, in practicing. Then sometimes you can also practice with a fast audio, so you can just train yourself, okay, to listen to very fast audios. So Adelala, I think I can welcome your question now.
Okay, so sorry. The one I've been using is Maggie. Is it Maggie Liang?
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know about that material, please. But just check the group, you'll find Jeshan materials and Jeshan audio recordings, okay?
Yes, thank you, sir. I want to know, because the other time I did one of the speaking materials on the group, I think I missed up to 8, 9. and I was thinking that if it were to be in the exam, that maybe I'll fail. So I want to know what is the pass mark? As how many would you miss in listening test that would cost you that exam?
Okay, so you need to miss 12. Okay, if you miss 12, you have passed. But if you miss 13, let me just show you again. Let me just show you this. Check out this. So can you see this? All you need to pass is 30, to get 30 answers correctly out of the 42. So if you miss 12, you have passed. So I'm going to post the grading again. Let me see how I can do that real time. The grading again on the Telegram group for us to take a look at it, right? So if you take a look at it, you realize how to go about it. So I'm going to post it on Excel OET Telegram group for us right now. The scoring, okay, so if you have 30 over 42, that's 350 over 500. And that's what is needed for you as a doctor, right? So it's very easy. You can see that you have to fail like 12. When you fail like 12, you're still passing, right? You can see how easy it is. So if you guys fail
Okay,
it,
thank
that
you.
simply means I'm trying to look for the grading. I'll post the grading, find a way and post the grading in the group for everyone to see. So it's quite flexible. Okay, I think I've seen it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So if you check the Telegram group right now, you'll be able to see it. I just posted it now. All right, so any other question, please? You can go ahead. Ask questions for me tonight. I can see your hand, Babs. Go ahead and ask a question, please.
Yes, please.
Hello,
Thank
Bab.
you. Hello, can you hear me?
Go ahead. Yes, I can hear
Yeah.
you.
There was a time I was doing some practice, part C, and I heard as the extract was going on, I was hearing some background noises like, sounds and all that. I was not like, is it like this in some aspect of this exam? I totally lost concentration.
Okay, remember that in that part
audio.
B, I know, I understand. In that part B, some questions you see some questions like you are hearing let's say a doctor discussing or a general doctor discussing with a consultant in the ward. Okay. Now, as they are discussing the word, don't forget that these people are in the word. They are making it look like the real setting. Do you understand? The real world. So there might be some people talking behind at the background in the word. Okay. So you must be very careful to what. Pay attention. Okay. Okay, to the main speaker. Okay, the consultant and the doctor, and don't pay attention to what you're listening in the background. Is that okay?
Okay. And one last thing, please. What is your advice as to answering the part B and part C? Because I think that is one of the biggest challenge. Let me say about myself only. I don't know about others. Because do you suggest understanding the text, then listening out for the answer, or do you suggest understanding the question, then marking out some points from the answers?
Okay, this is what you should do. The first thing is for you to look at the question. Okay. And then after, please listen to understand what they are saying. It's not like listening part A that you're just looking for answers and what to write, okay? Remember, like I said, you must be able to what paraphrase, interpret, okay, and use of synonyms. Part B and C is quite different from part A. Part A, you must write the exact word you heard, right? But in part B and C, for example, now, you read the question first and you hear two people speaking. For example, a doctor and a patient, or a doctor and a junior doctor is speaking, a consultant and junior doctor is speaking. And then what is the meaning, exact meaning of what, for example, if the question was to come from the consultant, the answer was to come from a consultant, what's the exact meaning of what the consultant just said? So now, John, you're not listening to write exactly the word like you ought to write the exact word, okay, in the provided spaces like you did in your part A. You're listening to understand what the person is saying. Then which option best fits your understanding? You pick it, that will be the answer. Does it make sense? So listen to the entire conversation, okay, holistically. When once you listen to the entire conversation holistically, okay, what is this guy saying? What is this guy is saying? Oh, he's trying to explain this. What's his what definition, or what is he trying to explain? What is he saying? Then you now look at the question now and select the best option to be your answer. Does that make sense?
Yes, but one last thing.
Okay.
Do you advise I read the answer option while this thing is going on, the audio is going on, or you advise I read the question, note what I want to listen out for, then be looking at my options while he's talking?
That exactly. So you read your question first and you think of what you listen for. Okay. Then by the time the time starts speaking, look at your options. Okay, what are the options? What is this person saying? Okay, in essence, by the time you're listening, you have to be very it's an active process. So you have to be very attentive. So we first look at the question first. Okay, this is what I'm expecting to listen for, and then they start speaking, and then you just go through. Okay, which one best fits my understanding of what he's saying? You now pick if option A, pick A, if B, pick B. But it needs words. All these things I'm saying needs words. It needs you have to keep practicing. Okay, you must show consistency and practice in this. They are not. It's not difficult. Okay. Like I said, if you do one daily till your exam day, you're going to pass.
Okay then.
Okay. So Nos, if I can see your hand, can you go ahead and ask a question, please? Nos, please, are you with us? You can ask a question. Your mic is muted, so you can need to unmute yourself and ask a question. Nos, okay, let's take a question. Let's take a question from Ariola. Please. Okay.
Hello. Thank you. Yeah.
Yes, Ariola, I can hear you. Go ahead, please.
All right. Oh, I sent one picture to the platform now. I just want. Yeah. It was with OET listening test, something like that. I just want to ask if we can use this to practice.
Yes, please. This is it OET, I think, is it the one that yes. You can use this one to practice too. Actually make use of this too.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, Francisca, we're about saying something. I think your mic is open. Francisca, I don't know. I can see a hand from Nurse Ifi, but she's not saying anything. Nurse Ifi, you might need to unmute yourself.
Okay,
Okay, sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
My question is on the explanation where you were making using tingling sensation, that, for example, they wrote tingling sensation on the question paper and you did listening way and you now recopied it on answer option that will be marked down. Is it that you lose 1 point, or there is a negative marking when you miss a score?
Oh, okay. So you just miss a score. It's not negative marking. This is not the things that they do in medical schools. Okay, so just miss a score. It's not negative marking. Okay. This is what I meant here. For example, number 5 now. If you are written tingling sensation and sensation was already provided here, okay, your answer will now be tingling sensation, making it wrong. Okay? But if you write tingling alone here, you get it correct. All right?
All right.
All right. So, Z, I can see your hand up. Please go ahead and ask your question, Z.
Yes, please. Thank you so much for the lecture. So I was practicing and then I got there was a question I got wrong because the answer was petroleum jelly, but then I wrote jelly and I got it wrong. I was just wondering if there's possibility having.
Okay, so you wrote petroleum jelly,
No,
Okay.
the answer was petroleum jelly, but I wrote
Okay.
jelly because that was what I had.
That's what you had. Let me show you something. So it's very flexible. I don't know the question you were answering. Can you see this? Now, I didn't listening parts. I know. Like I might not know the exact test, okay? But can you see my number one on the screen? Now, if you are written heavy case, you mark correctly, right? If you have written heavy suitcase, you mark correctly. If you write suitcase alone, you mark correctly. If you wrote case alone, you mark correctly. So if you wrote jelly, you mark correctly.
Oh, wow.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
It does.
So any other question for me tonight? Whose hand is up? Nosifi, your hand is still up. Is it an old hand or a new one? Sorry?
No.
It's an old hand, I guess.
The old one.
Okay, that's fine. So I'll just give a few seconds
yeah.
for if you have questions again, any other person with questions in the class, just go ahead and ask so that we can call it.
So please, can you explain again about that jelly stuff? The petroleum jelly stuff.
It's okay. Can you see my screen?
Are you saying that if it's a compound word? Yeah, I'm seeing it. If it's a compound word and you wrote only one, that can be marked correct.
Can you see, for example, suitcase is a compound word? Can you see that?
Yes.
Can you see that if you have written case only, right, you mark correctly?
Yes.
If you have written suitcase, you mark correctly. If you have written a case, you mark correctly. If you have written heavy suitcase, you mark correctly. If you have written heavy case, it will mark correctly for you. You'll be right? If you have written a heavy suitcase, it will mark correctly for you. If you have written a heavy case, mark correctly for you. Do you understand what I mean now? So that's how flexible OET is. So if the answer was petroleum jelly and she wrote jelly, to mark correctly for her.
But what if it's only petroleum without jelly?
Petroleum without jelly. Oh, I think that's where the problem might come in, right? That's where the problem might come in because petroleum only. I mean, I've not seen the question anyways. I might need to see the question. Okay, other component of the question. For example, this is what I mean. I might need to see what was here to know that if I write petroleum only for, like I said, tingling sensation, okay? If I write tingling and now see what was here, whether it will make sense. Does it make sense? But generally, if it was just a compound word and you just break it down and write one part of it, I mean, you get it correctly. Just like the same thing, you're trying to spell a word and you couldn't get it correctly and you spell something that sounds like what you heard to mark correctly for you.
Okay, like that acupuncture, I wrote double C instead of one C. Would it be marked correct?
Exactly, to mark correctly for you.
Okay.
So any other question in the house? So at this point, I want to say thank you to Adetola, Marta, Babs, Alero, Iriola, Francisca, Funke, Okore, Victory, Tosin, Uchechi, and Z for finding time to join the class today. And from my end, I'm saying goodbye. And
Good night. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. How you doing? I know they